We have gone through promoter, product, pricing, predisposition, purpose, promotion, proficiency, production, payment, positioning, and people. Today we are looking at paperwork and potential. Paperwork actually has to do with documentation, regulation, particularly in the export destination. Potential has to do with opportunities available in the export market. Opportunities available in the export market. Opportunities available in the export market. So let's look at potential and paperwork. This has to do with regulation around importation. Hello?
We are breaking.
Oh, I'm breaking. Wow. This is my network. You get us bill. Okay, let me try to change the network.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I've changed the network. I hope it will be better. I hope so. Paperwork has to do with regulation around importation and products and the product in the export market. Regulation around the product, importation and regulation around the product in the export market. It involves some pre and post export documentation. International trade is largely a business of documentation. International trade is largely a business of documentation. I'm wondering why we are still having a background noise when everybody is muted. International trade is largely a business of documentation, and that means that the conformity of product to be exported is shown through documentation. A business that is ready for export needs to therefore have a good understanding of how to obtain relevant documentation for its product. And also avoid discrepancies that could cause delay in clearing the goods. Documentation is a big deal because it determines a lot about the fate of the transaction. It could involve commercial invoice, commercial document, financial document, regulatory document that is needed for the import of the product, and sometimes also regulatory documents that is needed in the import process into the export market. Inadequate understanding of the paperwork required in the export market could cause delay in clearing the goods. In fact, for example, I understand in Mexico, those exporting product like hibiscus flower. If the documentation like phytosanitary certificate is having issue, they can send the good back. People have had to have those experiences. So if I'm shipping into a country, I should be able to know, like if I'm shipping food item to the US, by now I'm sure all of us know how vital and important FDA is if I'm shipping to the US market. How vital and important FDA is if I'm shipping to the US market. Having FDA is so important, so critical, if my goal is to go into the export market, the US market. That's a critical requirement. for me to be able to access that market. And in addition, there are other requirements that are needed that I also need to be able to fulfill, particularly if I'm doing raw commodities. A business that wants to go global must therefore have a very good understanding of the paperwork requirement in the target market. Like I said earlier, international trade is largely a business of documentation because the importer, the exporter, the banker, the custom, the insurance, and other government agencies involved in the process all need to rely on documents in order to take critical decisions. For example, a bank might pay on a trade transaction involving millions of dollars just by citing the shipping document. Just by citing the shipping document. He can pay. Why? The shipping document have rules guiding them. If they are issued, most likely there is a shipment. Most likely there is a shipment. So bank will take a decision based on that. Even insurance company will take a decision based on that. Even the importer will take a decision based on that. Even the importer. Paperwork is of different types. Like I said earlier, regulatory. It could be financial, it could be commercial. Paperwork helps stakeholders in international trade to know the quality, to know the quantity of the goods, to also have the title to the goods. Documents provide evidence of receipt of goods by the shipping line. Documents provide evidence of the origin of goods. It provides evidence of conformity of the goods to the term and condition. It provides evidence of contract of carriage to the destination. It provides evidence of insurance or adherence to any regulation. It's also an evidence that of previous history. Documents like invoice help custom to calculate duty, help insurance company to know the insurance fee, help the importer to know the amount to be paid. The packing list help to know how the good is packed, the number of units in a pack, the number of pack in a carton, the number of carton in the container. They help in loading and unloading the goods and inspection by custom. Documentation are so important. Unfortunately, many people do not have good understanding of documentation. You know, an important thing I must say here is, for a country like Nigeria, you don't want to leave the lifeline of your business in the hand of an agent to help you with some of these documentations, because you can actually get them yourself. You can actually get them yourself. So why will you not get them yourself? For example, certificate of origin, what you now need to know is, how do I get this document? That's the question to be answered. But the truth is, you can get them yourself. First of all, you need to know what are the documents required in importation of my item into the export market. different countries have different requirements. In fact, there's some country that there must be certificate of conformity issued in Nigeria for the goods before you ship. If you don't, I think a country like Liberia have that kind of regulation. If you don't, you know what will happen? When the good arrive at destination, the importer will have to pay a fine. And of course, you can be sure it will transfer that fine to you. A fine sometimes up to 25% of the value of the goods to be able to have access to the goods. Else, the bank will auction, the country will auction the goods, the government. Because the good did not conform to standard in terms of documentation required before it enters the country. You need to also know who are the people or bodies that issue the document. Like if I'm getting certificate of conformity, maybe SGS Nigeria is representing that government and they can issue it on my behalf. Who are the people? Where can I find the agency that issued the document, online or offline? When are these documents supposed to be processed for issuance? Before production, or shipment, or after shipment? Why are the documents necessary for importation of the item into that export market? How do I even go about processing the document in terms of application, payment, inspection, and the like? So here are the questions to ask. To be ready to enter the export market, how will you appraise your company's understanding of the product quality documentation in the target export market? Most of the time, if you are dealing with someone who already a buyer in that market, it will give you the documents in the contract. So you know document you have to provide. But if you are dealing with a new person, you will also need to do that research so that you are sure that you are not shipping goods that will have issue when it gets to the export market. How will you appraise your company's understanding of the documentation requirement under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement if you are shipping to Africa or to an African country? How will you appraise your company understanding of the pre and post import documentation in the target export market? Pre and post import documentation in the target export market. How do you appraise your company understanding of the home country's pre-export documentation requirement? So for example, shipping from Nigeria, NSP, pro forma invoice, export certificate or license, next received, single good declaration, certificate of origin, clean certificate of inspection. These are all pre-export documentation in Nigeria. Post-export, like bill of lading, invoice, packing list, post-export documentation. I should be able to prepare this document on my letterhead. I should be able to know where to get the one I have to get. Most of the time, invoice and packing list will be prepared by you on your letterhead. But for other documents, you might need to get it from other, like the bill of lading from the shipping line or airline if you are going by sea, airway bill from airline, Certificate of origin from NACIMA. Inspection certificate from the agency that's nominated to do inspection. How will you appraise your company understanding of what constitutes document discrepancies in export trade? What constitutes document discrepancy in export trade? So before we close today, we'll look at the potential. This involves the level of demand of the product and the size of the market available. The level of demand of the product and the size of the market available. I should be able to know if I'm exporting a product, who are those that are buying, what volume do they buy, what is the total volume sold in a year for my product. I should be able to know. And this demand, is it growing? You know, there was a time that there was a huge demand for bitter cola in Nigeria. And the story have it that it has caffeine, that pharmaceutical extract from it to produce drug. But immediately the pharmaceutical industry able to get a cheaper way of getting their caffeine, the demand for bitter cola declined. But people are still brandishing bitter cola as an item of import that is very lucrative. Even though the demand in the world is dropping. Because of the new sources of getting what they hitherto were extracting from bitter cola. And what is so dynamic? As technology is advancing, it's chasing some people out of the market and bringing new people into the market. The consciousness of this will make you to be able to know how vital and important it is in trying to know the potential of your product in the export market. This involves the level of demand for the product and the size of the market available to consume the product in the export market. A business that is ready for export market needs to have a good understanding of global market size, need to know the export market, where the large and ready consumers for the product are located, and also ascertain a growing demand for the product. A growing demand for the product from around the world. A growing demand for the product from around the world. And there are tools that you can use to get this information. I'm sure some of you are aware of ITC. ITC does a lot of programs for women. How many of us are aware of ITC, International Trade Center? International Trade Center. None of us is aware of ITC. That would be strange. ITC does many training programs. Okay, Faciala is raising up her hand. Okay. Yeah, someone has done a training with them before. Good. They have a website called www.trademap.org. www.trademap.org. TradeMap, trade MAP, map.
.co or .com?
ORG. Let me see if I can check it. I'm sure you can see my screen.
Yes.
So this is the website. And from this website, I can access a number of information, resources, in terms of who is importing what. So let's look at import. And let's look at spices. Spices, ginger, turmeric. You can see here the United States, Russia, United Kingdom, Canada, Germany, who are importing those group of products. So, and you can see who are those really doing majority of the volume. You can see them. This gives us an idea of major country buying that product. Let's look at import market. Import market. This, can you see United States, 10 to 20% share of the world. United States. China, 10 to 20% share of the world. 5 to 10% share Russia, India, Australia. You can see that Africa is not doing import of spices as such. So here you can see who are those doing the import. Majorly Americans, USA, China, India, Australia, Russia. Let's check the growth. Growth of these countries' import of this item. Annual growth. Switzerland, you can see the level of growth. Hong Kong, but others have not been growing so well, maybe because of COVID. And this is between 2016 and 2020, maybe because of COVID, has impacted the growth of these countries. But you have an idea of the size. So, and it's good you have an idea of the country importing, the potential, the volume. TradeMap is an online trade statistics for international business development. It provides in form of table, graph, and map, indicators on export performance, international demand, alternative market, competitive market, as well as directory of importing and exporting companies. And you can see it here. Monthly, quarterly, and yearly import-export volume, growth rate, and market share. And this application covers a range of products. Here you can even see also in terms of the volume, total import in the world, United States, followed by China, followed by Germany, followed by Japan. You can also check based on the map. So TradeMap is a very, very viable tool. Through a tool like this, an entrepreneur or business manager in export is able to know the total market size of his product, the growth opportunity over a period of time. The tool also helps an exporting company to know the country and the region of the world with the largest demand and the trend of consumption of this market. Let's go back to the slide. So here are the questions. How will you evaluate the company understanding of African market size for its product? How will you evaluate your company understanding of the global market size for your product? How will you evaluate your company understanding of the global trend of demand for the product? How will you evaluate your understanding of the global trend of demand? How will you evaluate your understanding of the driver? What is driving the demand? If there is an increase, what is causing it? If there is a decline, what is causing it? How you evaluate your company understanding of emerging market, new market. They are not very conspicuous, they are not very big yet, but they have huge potential. So you can go to those markets that the volume is not large, but they are growing, and you can pitch there and build your own territory there, rather than going to the market where everybody already are. Why? Because when there is crowd there, of course it's challenging. It's going to be challenging because of the crowd, the plenty people. But if there is no crowd, you just grow steadily and you take advantage of the market ahead of when others will discover that market. Ahead of when others will discover that market. So having a good understanding of the potential, because sometimes I might produce a product for export that there is no demand for it. There is no demand for it. Or there is a demand, but it's not strong enough, it's not big enough. It's not worth considering and investing a lot of energy. All right, so let me hear from you tonight. What have you learned tonight? We are very few tonight, only 2 of us are here. Let me hear from you. What have you learned tonight? We discussed the potential and the documentation paperwork. Yes, Diola.
You can see that I don't know, the roadmap, how to get something on it. I didn't actually get it. I was waiting for you to
Which
finish.
roadmap is that?
The trade map. Have you heard?
Okay,
The
what
trade
happened?
map for the ITC side.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't really get the searching.
No, when you go there, let me drop the link for you first of all. When you go there, the first thing is to register on the website.
Okay.
Upon registration on the website, the next thing, I've dropped the link on the chat. After registration on the website, the next thing is for you to search for product you want to. So when I logged in, can you mute yourself since you are not talking? There's a background. Okay. So if you look at what I did was to search for spices. Let me go back to where we started from. I logged in. Then I just decided to search for a product. And I searched for spices. So you can see here different products that you can check out for. Give me a product to search.
Let's search for kuli.
So we will find kuli. Let's look for peanut or peanut product. Because kuli is not that name is not a, how do I describe it now?
It's not a general name. Yeah, it's not a native to Africa.
Yeah, you get the point. You get it. So let's search for peanut. Or is it called granite? Some people call it granite.
Peanut cookies,
granite. I'm looking for oil cake and residue. Granite. Kuli is granite cake now, Abi.
It's granite, yes. But it's generally accepted as known as a peanut. Internationally,
I'm using granite cake now. Okay. Granite cake. And you can see.
Yes, peanut cake, granite.
Madam Feishara, I'm struggling to hear you. It's not clear. So you can see this is cake from nut. Oil cake from nut, of which granite is one of them. And you can see the country that is holding major market. Can you see?
How are you seeing it? Because I'm using a phone.
Oh, don't worry. When I'm recording. When you are watching the video,
okay. So I'll now be checking it out.
When you are doing the video. So it's just to give an idea of what is the volume of the market.
Okay.
Like now, I want to check the table. The table shows that Vietnam is a major importer. And I'm not surprised because Asians put it in their soup. Vietnam, Bangladesh, Korea, India, Italy, Cambodia. Can you see they are more than European and American? Than European and American. All right, so tell me, what have you learned tonight?
You mean me, doctor?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, what you have taught me now is what I've learned. I've really learned. The first thing tomorrow is what I will do after I come back from church to get because even like last night, was it last night? I was searching myself, like I'm planning to go for Ghana Trade Fair. So I was now searching. I didn't know, I was just searching on normal Google. Food they import to Ghana or what food they export from Nigeria to Ghana. So if I had known about this site now, is what I would have gone to do that.
Yeah. So those are the information you need. You can also go, I'm sure there should be video on YouTube. Let me check.
Okay.
Let me check if I can get video on YouTube that is teaching people on TradeMap how to use that site. There might be video on YouTube that is teaching individuals TradeMap. TradeMap tutorial. Can you see? Can you see? There is a tutorial on YouTube. 20 videos.
You are not sharing your screen, no?
Eh?
You're not sharing.
No.
You are
You're
not
not
sharing your
Doing
screen.
I'm doing it on my tablet. I'm dropping it in the group. I'm dropping a link in the group again of the tutorial of how to use that website.
That would be great.
So I've dropped a link of the playlist. It has about 20 videos of how to use that website. So you can watch the video and see how they are demonstrating. That helps you to be able to maximize the usage of the website. I just dropped the link on the chat now. If you click on that,
Okay, thank you very much.
know that you'll be able to know, okay, this is the potential. This how to check, this how to check, and you know. All right. Yes, let me hear from Diola. Good evening.
Good evening, Doctor. Thank you so much for this. I think the first one for me was the ITC. I'd done some training with them, I think a couple of years back. So you reminding me of this was very good. So I even had certificates, and then there was a year they had a glitch on their website and we lost all our certificates and they asked us to start over again, and I just lost interest.
Wow.
But I mean, it's a very good, it was very intensive. We had so many trainings on exports and all that on their website. Incidentally, I just got back from Accra from a exports training on dried fruits to European markets. So
dried fruit to European markets.
Yes,
great.
Dried fruit to European market. So I mean, so it's I think everything, all the things are falling in line. And it was sponsored by your people, NEPC. And I was in their office on Tuesday and Wednesday, harassing their lives. So from this training, I've been able to, better understand paperwork, the importance they play in exports, and also trying to balance that with the potential of what the product one intends to export. And in understanding the potential, linking it with the website where one can see whether it's worth going forward or not.
Okay.
For the particular product one intends to export. So that's what I've learned tonight. All
right, thank you. Faishala, good evening. Is your network okay now?
It's manageable. At least I'm hearing you now.
All right.
Yes. I also learned, you taught us on the paperwork, the importance of documentation, and you told us about the lifeline of our businesses, that the kind of agents that we make use of also matters. Though we could go in for those things for ourselves, but somehow that it might be of a good use to us to have an experienced agent, at least to start off. Then I learned that I need to know the documentations before, during, and after exports. Then the issue of the TradeMap, how to make use of TradeMap to locate the places that needs my products. These are the few things I learned.
All right. All right, thank you. Thank you very much, everyone, for being able to make it tonight. See you after Easter. That's 2 weeks time. I'm available to, next week Saturday. See you after Easter, where we'll be rounding off, and then we can begin to talk about.
That'll be great.
For those of us that will be able to, we will be doing a shipment in most likely in May. I'll be reaching out to some of us for those that we might be able to come. I would like to get some samples across, actually. So I will definitely reach out to us to get some of the sample along with the shipment we are likely going to do. I'm already talking to some of us that have product that some of the buyer have showed interest in, but we'll keep the conversation going even after we finish after the Easter. All right, thank you very much, everyone. See you after Easter. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Coach. You too.
Bye.